Hey guys, welcome back. Today is December 1st. Yay! So that means it is now the month of holidays and Christmas, and that was really bad. Sorry. I'm really sorry. This video is about tips and tricks I've come up with, well, not personally, just me, but also what I found online from people like you who have posted in like subreddits like adult bedwetting, which I've mentioned many times before, and I actually always leave a link in the description of every video. And a lot of my earlier videos, I mentioned it a lot because I was on it more frequently, and now I'm not. But it was a super useful tool I found that had lots of like really honest people talking on it. I always try to guide people towards the subreddit because it's pretty wonderful, and there's a lot of, like I said, honest and nice people there, or at least there used to be. I hope there still are. But anyways, today's video is about how to deal with overactive bladder and also bedwetting during the holidays, because it is a difficult time of year for people like us. But I thought I'd upload this video now because it'll maybe help you prepare for like parties or stuff going on throughout the month of December. So here we go. So the first thing I want to touch on is, we're just going to talk about overactive bladder for the first half of the video, or first portion of the video, and then the other portion I'll talk about how to deal with like bedwetting when you're going to parties and stuff like that. In case you stay over, because not everyone's going to stay over during like every single party, but there's going to be lots of chances. Actually, not even just parties, like family get-togethers in general. Like you probably are traveling, or someone's going to be traveling to your house, and maybe you have to leave your room. I don't know. I'm going to talk about overactive bladder first. For overactive bladder, there's 4 symptoms or 4 things that mostly make up overactive bladder: urgency, urge incontinence, frequency, and nocturia. And nocturia is the going more than once or more than twice throughout the night, waking up and going to the washroom. So the first thing I want to mention with overactive bladder is with urgency. So before you even leave, let's say you're going to a party, before you even leave, you should just generally, no matter where you go, even leaving the house to go get groceries, you should just go to the washroom. That's something I kind of forget sometimes. But like, more often than not, I've already gone to the washroom recently anyway, so, but just to be safe, go to the washroom before you even exit the door, and then just get out and go to your car or whatever, bus, I don't know. But go to the washroom. That's the first trick. It's something to keep in mind, like I said, no matter what. So this is probably my most creative tip. I'm not even sure if it's that creative. If you're the one who's driving, or even if you're taking a bus or an Uber or whatever, either plan along the route where you might be able to stop off like at a Tim Hortons or McDonald's or something and go to the bathroom before you even get to your destination. Or like I said, with maybe like make the Uber drop you off there if you can walk closer to wherever the place is. Just wherever you're going, try and stop and get the chance to go pee before you get to the person's house or wherever you're staying. Because I find that I hate having to do the first thing I have to do is go to the washroom, or at least ask where the washroom is if you don't know where it is, and just like trying to get past greetings and whatever. It's just so awkward. It's not a very good first impression, and you may or may not be wanting to leave a great first impression depending on if you like your family or not, or friends, but it's also nice to not have to barge into the house and try and find the first washroom, because that's happened to me more often than not, and it's really, really uncomfortable, and I hate it. And sometimes I will stop and do that. I'll find like a gas station nearby and go to the washroom before I get to my friend's house or something. Also, probably because I really have to go anyways, and even waiting an extra like 2 minutes is just too much. So I think that's probably like my most, also you get a chance to like calm down and like relax a little bit, hopefully, if you like have trouble with social interactions. And if you are taking an Uber there, maybe wear a really super absorbent pad during the ride in case they are a terrible driver and you end up having to wet yourself a little bit, or you just wet yourself a little bit in general. Just bring an extra pad for when you get to the house anyway, or something like that, or wherever, and maybe change it then. Or even like on the way home if you have extra pads in your purse, or you know, not necessarily a woman, you may not be carrying a purse or bag, but having extra protection on you if you can help it would probably be a good idea. If you're bringing booze or something like along those lines, like, or maybe just a bag in general, just put it in there. And yeah, and then another tip is for urgency is also finding out where the closest washrooms are. If you're in a banquet hall, or if you are, like I said, in someone's house, or maybe it's like a giant house and like there's just a ton of bathrooms. Try and plan where the nearest washroom is, and then be able to obviously get there if you need to. Also, I found that one time I was at a party and I asked the host, actually I didn't even have to ask. She just offered me where the washroom was, because A, she knew like I had an overactive bladder, and B, she was just a good host. Host? Not host. So she just told me where the washroom was because I hadn't been to her house before, and that was really nice because I didn't have to ask. So another tip, especially with urge incontinence, is, like I said, bring extra pads or pad. Try and hide it somewhere. Even if you have a friend who has a bag, just ask them if you can stick some stuff in their bag. Maybe it's discreet, maybe it's concealed, like they won't be able to know. But the tip is that if you can wear black on the bottom half of your body, just by wearing darker clothes is very helpful if you do have leaking or accidents, or even just generally you're hot and sweaty anyway. Wearing black can help hide, accidents or something like that. When you wear lighter clothes, it's much easier to see like wet spots or stains or something like that. Things happen, and I think just wearing black on your bottom half is just generally a better idea. I have a lot of black bottoms for work and stuff like that. And someone had mentioned that they noticed that in my room tour video that I had a lot of black bottoms, so I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, no, just wear darker clothes on the bottom if you can. So another thing with parties is obviously there will probably be a little bit of alcohol involved. Not saying that you should limit the amount you drink, although I kind of am at the same time. I'm basically going to say that because alcohol and even just coffee are diuretics, so they basically increase the amount of water or urine in your body, and they just process a lot faster. And if you have more water or urine in your bladder, then you're going to have to go more frequently. So I would say probably best to try and stagger how you drink. But if you know personally that it is a big deal when you drink coffee or alcohol or some sort of acidic anything, if it's a trigger for you, you just have to be a bit more conscientious about it. Because I know as soon as I drink, I can drink probably a few beers before having to go to the bathroom, which is probably pretty standard. But as soon as and there's no such thing as breaking the seal. I'm not going to go into that right now, but from what I've heard, there's no such thing as breaking the seal. It's just that your body is all of a sudden starting to process the alcohol, right? So it's not going to process it as soon as you drink it. It's going to take time for it to build up and start to become urine in your body, or in your bladder. So staggering it may be more helpful for you to go to the washroom a little bit less frequently. But again, no matter what you drink, your overactive bladder may just be triggered by everything. So that may not be the best tip. And I don't really like to recommend telling you how to drink or what you're going to intake. It's just whatever you know your trigger is. For me, it's soda or pop, because the carbonation, I find, just, especially in like really, ginger ale not so much, but in like really sugary pops, oh man, I gotta go like every 10-20 minutes. Like as soon as I drink one, especially from the pop can, not necessarily from a fountain drink, it just is my biggest trigger. Also with frequency, you're going to end up going to the washroom more probably than the average person. You may want to create some kind of buddy system if you brought someone with you. Either you guys both go there together, or you can come up with, if it's just too much, like you really don't want people to notice, I'm not sure. If it's just too much, you can ask that person who is your buddy to come up with something to say if you're gone more often than not. Either A, you could be getting another drink, or you could be meeting up with another friend. But if you don't want it to sound like you're going to the washroom all the time, create a buddy system, or bring them with you so that you're off doing something else, doing something different every time you go to the washroom. Again, nothing really I've done personally, but I think it's kind of a good idea. So let me know if you think that's a good idea, and leave some comments below if you think any of these are terrible ideas, or if you have some actually really good ones that I haven't mentioned in this video. If you don't want to do the buddy system, like I said, you can probably come up with some other things to say to people, just like go to a few lines that if you're really just uncomfortable with saying, I have to go to the washroom again. I say that all the time, like I have to. Like I'm not really I'm not like a good liar. I'm not someone who lies all the time. So I've gotten to the point where I'm just really awkward and I don't really care what people think. So I'll just be like, I'm going to the washroom now. And then I'm going to the washroom and then people are like, okay, cool. Thanks for telling me. Or you don't have to say anything. But if you think people are getting a little suspicious about where you're going, I highly doubt people will notice, but some people are just really acute to that kind of stuff and they're just kind of curious. Come up with something that makes you a bit more comfortable when you leave the room. Because if I know family, they like to talk about your problems. And bringing up something like your overactive bladder, especially if you're a young adult, is probably one of the most uncomfortable situations or conversations, because people always have something to input into that kind of conversation and tell you how you should handle it. So if you can avoid that conversation at all costs, that's a great idea. And then just a last tip is like, if like I said, bring pads or something. If you're having a problem with like accidents or something, maybe just bring up extra pair of underwear or even pants if it's that big of a deal. There's nothing, whatever makes you comfortable. Like I keep saying a big deal. Like I have come to a point where having InterStim implanted in my buttock has helped me with my daytime overactive bladder. But it used to be really, really, really bad. Now it's gotten to a point where I can go every few hours or so, and it's great, and I love it. But it used to suck, and I've gone through every situation imaginable. So don't feel bad for having either really, really bad overactive bladder or somewhat moderate overactive bladder. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, I suggest trying and doing, or just having available maybe will help ease your mind and make you maybe feel a little bit less anxious, and maybe anxiety is a trigger for you. Now moving on to the bedwetting portion. For bedwetting during the holidays, I think that's probably the more trickier thing than overactive bladder, because no matter what, you have to be out and about. Well, not no matter what, but for the most part, we're out and about during the day, even going to work or something. So we probably know a little bit about how to manage it pretty well. Maybe we're not drinking alcohol all day. Those tips might be helpful, but I think coming down to bedwetting during the holidays, that's pretty much a huge point of contempt with a lot of people. It was for me for a long, or it is sometimes for me. I don't normally travel that far, and everyone knows in my family like what's going on with me, so it's not really that big a deal. But not everyone's family member really does. I'm probably just the one odd person out that I just tell everyone about my problems, mostly online, not necessarily in person. But I've got a couple interesting tricks, so hopefully you like these ones too. And so for the most part, these things that I'm about to mention, I've done personally, so I can attest to the fact that they do work and that I still do them if I need to. The first tip is, if you can, ask either for a private bedroom. I don't know, like let's say you were with like a good friend and like you're staying over at like someone's house, and you're with that good friend or something, and they may not necessarily know what's going on. If you can't get a private bedroom and you have to sleep with that person or sleep in the same room as them, at least find a private area to change. Because I know for girls, and this has been a thing for me growing up as well, is most of the time, like if I was at girls camp or something, or at camp in general, you're gonna change in the same room. Like it's pretty much the same as locker rooms or something. You're going to probably change in the same area wherever the people are. I always change in the washroom with the door closed. I've also been in situations where I've had to change with other girls in the room, and then I have to go secretly change again so I can put like the diaper on afterwards so that I don't wet the bed with them in it, kind of thing. And it's awkward, but you just have to find a place that's secluded, or you can let the person know that. I had made a video about how to tell your friends about bedwetting, and I don't know, I haven't actually watched it in over a year, but there are ways to tell your friends and family in a very respectful way about how you have problems with bedwetting. So if you can tell the person you're with, that might be a good idea, so that you won't have any, well, not you won't have any, but it may be a little bit less awkward if you have an accident, that you can tell them. It still sucks. If you tell them, it still sucks, and I still don't want to tell someone if I've had an accident, especially even my best friend. It still sucks. It's just, what do you do? Like, you gotta do something. So it's just, I know it sucks. It sucks. I'm gonna stop saying it sucks, because it sucks. Also, another thing you might want to do is limit the amount of anything you drink, at least 2 hours before going to sleep. Try and just sip on water, because at least giving yourself that 2-hour window, hopefully you'll have peed out most of whatever was in your stomach or your system or in your bladder. And then going to bed mostly an empty bladder, although we still produce urine in our sleep. So if you can drink less before you go to bed, that should give you a fighting chance. I find that I have the most awkward sleeps at people's houses, so I'm always terrified of wetting the bed there. And sometimes I just end up doing that. It's just sometimes your body is just so stressed out, or you can't sleep, or you sleep too much. I don't know. Just the worst things happen when you're at other people's houses. So whatever steps you can take to minimize risk. Sounds like a protocol for like a bomb aversion, or getting out of a burning fiery building or something like that. Like, I'm like, minimize all risks at whatever cost possible. But seriously, if you can minimize the risks of having an accident during your sleep, probably in a good running for a good sleep. If you wear, so another tip is if you wear protection to bed, like if you're wearing either pull-up diapers to bed, you might want to invest in some higher quality diapers that you can purchase online or in some stores. Higher capacity absorbency diapers, like I think it's, so Abena Abriform X Plus, people have said are really good. North Shore Supreme, I can't order North Shore apparently, or it's really expensive to get North Shore to Canada, so I've never tried that one. And also Confidry 24/7, I believe that's a plastic backed one, and there are some that are plastic backed, so they're super noisy and also can make you sweaty, but those are considered high absorbency diapers. So in, like, if you're not sharing a bedroom, maybe that's more ideal for someone like you who may not have to worry about someone being in the room with you, but wearing a higher absorbency diaper would probably be a good idea. Something I also swear by is taking pads with you. So like my best friend likes to call them puppy pads, but like bed pads. Like if you're gonna throw like a disposable one that you can throw on the bed. I toss and turn a lot in my bed, so I find them kind of difficult to use. They don't like stick down to the bed unless there are some that have like a sticky thing for the bed, but they are super helpful, especially if you do leak, even if you leak through the diaper or leak through your underwear or your pad. Having a protective bed pad on the bed is a really good idea. Another thing is take wipes with you. If you buy just regular baby wipes, because they're probably cheaper and less, or just easier to get, and no one cares if you're buying baby wipes, like maybe you have a baby to buy them for. Bringing like a small pack of wipes with you to like just wipe down in the morning is good to help against smell. A lot of people shower in the morning. I hate showering in the morning. I hate showering in general, so wipes are the way to go for me. Another thing is bringing a small to-go Febreze spray bottle for the mattress or the bed. Not that you've wet it, but the fact that when you wear cloth or cloth style diapers against the bed, it will leave some sign, it'll transfer smell. So a lot of people are very acute to smells. So just bringing some Febreze and spraying it once or twice just to freshen it up might be a good idea as well. Another tip is bring a dark tinted plastic bag or dark tinted Ziploc bag. I know Abena makes those. I bought them. They're really big. I'll actually go get them. So they're these bags here. They're quite big, bigger than my head. And they're dark blue, as you can see, with a little Ziploc version, like little thing here. I reuse these ones for underwear when I'm staying over at someone's house for a few days, but they're typically meant for packing diapers in, and they're backed on the bottom too, so that they can expand more than just what they look like on the side. So there's lots of room for putting in pads or diapers or bedding pads. So bring something like that with you when you're traveling. Like I think I got the like 10 or 15 in a box for like $5.99, so it wasn't too expensive, and I could reuse them. So I really like these bags. This is good to throw back into your luggage so that you can take it home with you or take it somewhere else and discard of it. I think it's just super awkward. I hate throwing stuff in people's trash. And then I guess my last tip is, if you don't use diapers or if you have occasional bedwetting, is wearing a pad or a thick like booster pad or just a thick pad at night when you're at someone's house, and maybe just setting alarms for certain times of the night to wake up and try to remind yourself to go. If you set alarms for yourself like every 2 hours or something from when you start to go to bed, that should help you wake up and go to the washroom. It's not necessarily the greatest sleep, but who gets the best sleep when you're not in your own bed? So those are my tips. I hope you liked them, and I hope that you have some more than just what I've offered, or if you can expand on some that I have mentioned, or if the ones I mentioned aren't good, tell me. But I think I've tried most of them, or if not all of them before, and like I said, they work. So if you have more tips, please share them below, because I'd like to know more, first of all, about how to make my life easier too, because I still suffer from bedwetting and overactive bladder, and also for everyone else to read in the comments too. So please share, and happy December if you celebrate any holidays in December or in the new year or whatever. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I will be making more videos. I just thought this one was a really good one to upload for today, for the 1st of December. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will hope to see you in my next video. Bye!